Okay, this is my kegel. Oh, I'm sorry, this is not my kegel. This is the mash tun. So that is the current false bottom I have in there now with the dip tube. And I'm going to replace that because I'm getting a stuck sparge. And I'm going to basically replace all that stuff with this guy here. This is much wider and it is concave or convex, actually in this case, how it will be mounted. So it'll cover a larger surface area and it'll give me more volume down the bottom of the keg for getting my wort out. And that comes with the barb fitting. I'm going to take that off. And I got this elbow here. And I'm going to put that in instead. And then I got another dip tube. I don't think I need the other dip tube. I can probably just cut the existing dip tube there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that to length. And then that's going to go through the compression fitting on this end. And the other compression to MPT, half-inch MPT thread on the other end that comes out of the keg. So I'll have a stainless steel dip tube cut to the exact length. So that's what it's like now. To be continued. There is my new false bottom setup. So what I did is I took the dip tube that I had and cut that down to length. It was a little, I had to cut a couple of them because I needed to compensate for the inside here length. So what it is, I just put it all the way in and then measured what that distance was. That was 7/8. So this whole distance in here is 7/8 inch. Multiply that by 2, add in the distance here, and then you get your total length of the tube that you want to cut. And that one turned out good. Initially, I had a problem of this false bottom was not sitting flush with the bottom. It was kind of sticking up. So trying to figure out what to do, and the best solution I found was to take this whole guy off. And well, actually I didn't have to take it off. I took it off anyway just to replace the O-ring that was in there with a new one. But what I did is I just bent this stainless steel keg here is thin enough to where you can bend it a little bit. So it's bent a little bit right here. I just pulled this up a little bit, and that bends the whole thing down a little bit so that the tube actually goes down a little bit so that this is flush, because it was kind of coming up a little bit. But now that I bent that in a little bit, now this false bottom is sitting flush with the bottom. So I shouldn't have any stuck sparges, and there shouldn't be any grain, well, minimal grain getting in there with this setup. So there it is. It's false bottom is all set up and we are ready to brew. Okay, so this is my brew rack as it sits when it's being stored. I have it on casters there so I can easily move it around, and I've installed a handle right here to assist me in moving it. And I've got everything stored and ready to go. So I got my hoses. That gray one there, that's all one hose that I use for brewing only. Don't use it for any gardening or anything else. And then my other hoses that I use for water. And that's how everything sits when it's being stored. The hot liquor tank there in the middle, that goes on the top burner when I'm actually brewing, but I can't have it on the top when I'm storing it because obviously it won't go in the garage. Just fits in there though. I'm able to wheel it in there and put it in the garage when it's not in use. So that is everything. So I've got everything there that I need to brew when I'm brewing. I got my my stir stick for the mash tun and my spoon and everything I need to brew. All right there in the rack. So let's get it all set up and let's brew. Okay, so here we are heating up the strike water for mashing. I have one burner going right now. That's in. It's not much to see though. It's mostly green flame. One thing I am keeping an eye on. Let's see how red that guy is. So I'm gonna just a bit. There we go. got here is I've got 3 different burners. I think they're called the banjo burners, or the no, it's not the banjo. Whatever the big burners are called. I've got those guys. 3 different burners. One for the hot liquor tank, one for the mash tun, and one for the keggle. And these 2 burners right here, they are on their own system. So I made my own little gas manifold here, and those 2, they got stainless steel lines, go to 1 regulator to 1 tank, one of those tanks. And I only have 1 burner going on at a time with these 2 burners, so that's why they made the same manifold. Now the other one, the hot liquor tank up there, that goes down to its own regulator and then directly to a tank, so it's not on a gas manifold, it's on a whole other system. And I'll be firing that up here in a little bit. It's not going right now, but I will be firing it up to have both the mash tun burner and hot liquor tank burner going at the same time, so that's why that is set up that way. I have 2 tanks. But this is it. Heating up the straight water right now, so next step. Okay, so now I have both burners going on at the same time here to just speed up the whole process and cut down my whole time on brewing today. So there's the mash tun burner, that's going, and now I've got the burner for the hot liquor tank going, heating up my sparge water. So that should be all heated up by the time mash is complete. Pretty good. It hasn't been running that long. We're already at almost 1:30. So I'm gonna go to 167 for this batch to get a strike. 167 strike temp to yield a 154 degree mash temp. One thing I didn't mention is what I have here is there's my. Let's see, there we go. So I've got a. That's my water filter. So I've got hoses dedicated solely for brewing. Just hook up to my house and go through this water filter here. And then that goes through another hose. It's on a ball valve here. And I use that just to fill up my kegs. And I've got them marked. Each one is marked so I know where to fill to. So I've got, let's see, 7, 8, 9, 10 gallon marks. It's like a hot water tank. And similar on the mash tun, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 gallon marks, so just fill up to those marks approximately, and that's how I can fill those up in a pretty speedy way. So same thing with the keggle here, I got the marks there for where to fill the work up to full boil. So there we go, almost at strike temp. Okay. Strike water is exactly 167 degrees. Yep. On the nose. Okay. So we're gonna mash. I keep my grains in this bucket here. Mash, let's see, grain temp is exactly where I expected, 58 degrees. So we should have a perfect mash temp of 154 degrees. Let's do it. Okay, so I mashed in, and I did take my time because I don't want to get any dough balls in there. And just get a shot of the mash. Mash looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. I don't have any dough balls in there, so like I said, I took my time and it paid off. So I have no dough balls in there, and we're not exactly at 154 where I want to be. We're close though. We're at about 152 to 153. Don't know if I'll fire up the burner for just a minute or not, but 152 is pretty good, so not bad. So, alright, let's get this hot liquor tank, oh, can't zoom, there we go. Or focus, I mean. Get the hot liquor tank all heated up for my sparge water, and mash on. Okay, so we got the sparge water in the hot liquor tank up to 170 degrees. Got about 5 minutes left on the mash. So one thing I wanted to talk about was the mods I had to make on this rack. it's been through a lot of versions here. The first burner I tried was a small turkey fryer burner. Was not hot enough, could not generate enough heat to get enough all the water up to 10 gallons to a boil, which is what I'll be boiling. So got these other burners, put those on. They started melting that rack. So they generated enough heat, but they were melting the steel. So had to have these custom racks made, and did use these, but everything else is all new. And then had that welded to the this guy here that's bolted to the burners. So that worked well for a while. But then these are the little plastic pieces that come with the rack. They go inside here, and that's what holds the rack down. When you press it down, those hold it in place. Well, the heat was melting these guys. So I tried some aluminum duct tape to make my own. That worked, and I did use these guys here as a backup in case that failed. It did work, however it didn't work well enough in my opinion. And then later did some more searching, found these guys. These are the same, those black plastic pieces made out of aluminum, so they can handle the heat. So replaced all the ones that are close to all the burners with all the aluminum pieces, and now no more melted stuff. So there's a snap ring in the top. I'm not sure exactly why, because it goes down. The snap ring in the bottom would make more sense, but whatever. I got snap ring as many of them as I could. Couldn't always get the snap ring in there, but it's not really a big deal because the way they go on is from the top down. So snap ring, I don't really see the big point of it, but on the top, on the bottom, it'd make more sense. But anyway, they're going pretty good. They're working really well. They haven't melted at all, and those are the mods I had to make to get this thing to work. So, all right, let's finish up the mash and get to the next step. Okay, so we are sparging away. I don't know how well this is coming out, but I'm gonna reduce the flow a little bit here. But yeah, it's going really well. No stuck sparge today. Yay! My modification worked. So stop the flow down here to give me some more water. Grain bed is looking a little bit dry, so we'll wait for that to suck up some more water. But this is flowing really, really well. I love the half-inch barb there for a higher output flow, and yeah, the whole mod and the false bottom seems to be working flawlessly. So it's going really well. So we'll get a little moisture there. Okay, so we'll turn this guy back on. You can kind of see it coming out there. It's buried already a little bit, but man, the flow in this thing, phenomenal. So just got to get the trick on matching the sparge arm to the output into the kegel, and yeah, I just gotta kind of play with it. But it's going well. Yay! No stuck sparge. That's always a good thing. So there we are. We have yeah, this is my sparge arm here hooked up, and yeah, the fly sparge I think is what it's called. And yeah, it works great. Never had any problems with that. Just been a problem with the stuck sparge and the false bottom, but looks to be working excellent today. Finally. So should get that filled up pretty quick, and we'll get it boiling. To be continued. Okay, so that went well. Got about I don't know if you can see it in there, but got about between 12 and 13 gallons in there to yield a 10-gallon batch. And I got the bottom burner fired up there. And temp, we get to about 135. So, and I got a little ways to go to get to the boil. But we got a nice high flow regulator, so shouldn't take too long. Yeah, that went great with that new false bottom on there. Good stuff. All right, now we shall get to a brew. Okay, so I got the mash tun all cleaned out for the most part. Now I loosen this up. A moment of truth. I'm gonna take this off and see what it looks like underneath. See how much grain actually, if any grain got in there, and how well this really worked. It seemed to work pretty well. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a little bit there, but man, it worked. It worked really, really well. So yeah, very pleased with the new false bottom. Worked great. Okay, so we are boiling. Got a good boil going there. It has not boiled over yet. I'm keeping a close eye on it. And the actual temp that this is reading here is just under 200. So about what was that, 196, 190, about 196. But of course that's at that point right there. So at least when my thermometer reads that, that's so yeah, boils going. And the burner is on real low right now. Don't have to have much going now to maintain the boil. And got just about everything else cleaned up. Got the both their kegs, the mash tun and the hot liquor tank. They're over there all cleaned up. And so now I just gotta, I'm gonna sanitize those guys and prep for transferring while going through the plate chiller and then into the carboys. Okay, so we finished the boil. And now we are transferring through the plate chiller, the Blickman Therminator, worth its weight in gold, and a beautiful 68 degrees going right into the carboy. Ah, awesome. Love that thing. So, one little note about the Therminator. Those little connections there with the garden hose and the connection for the wort. Be careful when you're putting those on or taking them off. I've cut myself probably 2 or 3 times on those things. They're pretty sharp. So take your time and just be careful with those. The threads they're very good threads and they're sharp. So they will cut your finger up, so be careful when taking those connections on and off. So yeah, that's about it. I've got oh yeah, the carboys, I have them marked, which makes things a lot easier now. I actually filled them up to 5 gallons and 6 gallons, and that made it easy to put the tape all the way around to make it level and even all the way around the carboy. So now I know where 5 gallons is and 6 gallons is when I'm filling it up, and no real guesswork on that. And that's about it. So I did turn this thing around. Supposedly it was going to rain today, but looks like it's going to miss us. So nice thing about having this thing on casters, I could turn it around from the way it was facing before. And now if it does rain, I got the protection here of the garage to not rain on my parade or rain on my carboys. So that's why it's flipped around right now. But anyway, this is how I got it set up. I got the garden hose coming out here, going to a ball valve, goes right into the plate chiller, and then comes out the other end. I got a nice curly hose that works good for the water, and then just having it come out in the driveway there. And then the connection for the kegel. This is actually a quick disconnect. Works really nice. Just wash that and put in some sanitizer, and then just hook it up. And that just screws onto the plate chiller down there. And then the other side of the connection. So I've got 2 valves. I've got the valve on the actual kegel, and then I've got a valve here to adjust the flow so I can get it exactly where I want it to be. And yeah, it's nice. It's probably 66, 67 degrees now. So yeah, I can adjust. I got 1 3 different valves to adjust to get it exactly flowing the way I want and the temp that I want when it's coming out. So there we go. Okay, so now I'm aerating. Got everything transferred to the carboys, and I got my oxygen tank hooked up, and the end that's in the carboy all sanitized. And you can see it down there. That's the stone that's down there connected to the line where the oxygen is coming through. Just do this for about a minute, and it's all aerated, and then I'll pitch the yeast and let her ferment. Yeah, this oxygen tank for aerating is the way to go. Should have the real quick takeoff on the yeast too. So, alright, that is about done. So we'll shut this guy off. There we go. Alright, and on to the next one. Brewing is complete, cleanup is complete, and that is the brew rack's resting place. So, got everything cleaned and put away and all stored for next time. Good brew day.